Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Glow Up Podcast. If you are new to the podcast, my name is Megan. On this podcast, we talk all things self-care, self-love, healing, Jesus. We talk about it all, y'all. So I don't hold back. So I thank you guys for taking the time to listen to this podcast. But all right, enough of the introduction. So today we're going to talk about healing. So in my community, I usually pick a topic every week and we talk about, things that could possibly hold us back from our glow up process. So a couple weeks ago, we talked about fear. We talked about imposter syndrome, like all the things that can hold us back. So this week, we talked about inner healing and letting go of things in the past. I know I did previous episodes on this on my podcast, but I want to talk a little bit more about healing and the importance of healing. And in my community, I'm like encouraging the women I want to have a healed girl summer, because when you are walking in true healing, it's like you see things from different perspectives. It's just like things happen, and the healed person can process it a lot more differently than someone who's unhealed. And so the problem with our society nowadays is people are walking around with so much trauma, so much pain, all these type of things that have been tacked on from different relationships, from when they were kids up until now, all these different things that they've never really had the opportunity to deal with. And sometimes it can be hard because, especially within the Black community, we have a stigma on going to therapy. But, therapy is good. Having somebody to talk about things, having an outlet to get all your emotions and things out, that is good. We're not meant to hold on to things. And that's just not what God designed us to be, And so we have to be able to release. We have to have an outlet. And so in my healing journey, and mind you, I'm still kind of going through my healing journey. The other day, the Holy Spirit reminded me or revealed to me that I had some work to do. I'm in my community. I'm talking to people like, hey, guys, like, this is what we need to do. And like the Lord was like, you got some inner healing that you need to do too. And so it is a process. I talk about this, that healing is kind of like the onion being peeled back, especially when you've gone through trauma, something that was really, really painful. It's not something that is a one and done situation. It takes time and patience with yourself, and a lot of grace and a lot of self-love, all that good stuff when you're on that journey. So I'll talk about today just kind of what that healing process looks like. And healing looks differently for people. And so I always recommend doing this process with the Lord and asking Him what does the healing process look like for me? For me in particular, I spent a lot of time in His presence, and He revealed to me that, He's going to heal me in certain areas. And it was a process. It was a painful process. But, over time, I was able to see things shift. And so the first things first is, when you are healing or when you're in the healing process, you have to recognize that you do need healing. You do need to let go of some things. And a lot of people are in denial. They think that they're fine, but they're reacting out of emotion all the time, and that just means that you need some healing. And so in my healing process, and like I said, everyone is different, but in my healing process, I spent a lot of time with the Lord and really going back to the beginning of my childhood from what I can remember. And I used to ask the Holy Spirit to reveal to me things that I may have blocked out from my childhood, because I know, people may have had some experiences where they even forget what happened, right? And so I even asked the Holy Spirit, I'm like, hey, reveal to me the areas that I may have even forgotten about, and I went all the way back from my childhood, my happy moments, my moments where I was upset or sad or something happened. And when you really get a chance to, when he reveals those things to you, definitely write them down. I'm really big about journaling because you want to journal your experience so you can have that and so you can see how far you've come in your process. But going back and really going over, what happened. And you can kind of see, okay, this is where the insecurity started. This is where the depression started. This is where I was questioning my worth. It came from this situation. And so once you're able to really pinpoint kind of where things started, that's when you kind of go through the process with the Holy Spirit and tell him how you feel. And you can do this with the counselor as well. But tell him how that made you feel, like your emotions. I remember I was literally crying, like bawling, crying. I even screamed. I remember I was in the shower and I was just crying, bawling. And crying and screaming, all of that is necessary to the healing process because you're letting it out. A lot of those emotions have been built up inside, and that's what's causing things to happen in our health, in our physical health, because we have so much stuff that's been pent up, is anger and bitterness and unforgiveness in our soul that we haven't let it out. So crying and screaming, whatever you got to do, get it out. So I was literally screaming in the shower like a madman, like just letting it out. There would be some times where I would just sit and just cry and cry and cry and cry. And it was like a release. And so that is the first step. I think being able to spend some time with yourself, grab a journal, work this out with the Holy Spirit, and have him remind you of the things that happened in the past, and go back all the way back from your childhood up until now, and really pinpoint where things started in your life. For me, I had a lot of self-esteem issues. It was a lot of self-esteem issues from things that were said to me as a child, things that were, said to me in the classroom, how I felt my teachers misrepresented me or treated me. So I used to feel very insecure, and that insecurity spilled over into my adult life. And it wasn't until I actually came to Christ is when he was like, okay, this is where this came from. This is what you need healing from, and let's work on that. Let's change your perspective when it comes to this stuff. So, really taking that time with him to go through that process of healing. So after you've gone through him revealing to you where it came from and all of that, now is the time to release. So I talked about releasing, and then making sure that you are open to what the Holy Spirit says and is guiding you, because like I said, it can be very, very painful, especially if you're opening up wounds that you have not opened up for years. You will get emotional. You will feel all type of feelings. So don't shut down. That's the biggest thing, is don't shut down when those emotions come up. Just let it out. Let the Lord have his way. And I promise you that once you get to the other side of it, it will be a lot better. Then you will figure out that you don't have those same kind of triggers because you've dealt with it, because you've released it. And so some other tips that I want to talk about in this healing journey is just making sure that, you're not involving a lot of people in this process too. I've made a lot of mistakes because I had so many people. I was letting everybody know that I was on this healing journey, and I was involving people that I needed healing from. And it really didn't help, because it kind of swayed me in so many directions, when I felt like I could have got through a lot of things a lot quicker if I would have just focused on me and focused on what the Lord was doing in me in that healing process. So I highly suggest kind of maybe going through a season of you just kind of, I don't want to say isolating, because some people take that word and they kind of just like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to talk to anybody. Like, no, like really spend a season where it's literally just you, Holy Spirit, or your counselor, and working this process out between those people. And if you have accountability partners are great. Now I have mentors that I can kind of lean and glean from on certain things. So, I definitely recommend, having accountability partners as well to kind of keep you on track. If that's going to be something that's helpful for you. And I'm going to go ahead and end the episode there because there is a lot that we discussed in the group about healing, and I don't want to give up too much information because I want you guys to come into the community and really, really come in and support one another. The community is a free community. It's just a resource that I put together to help women kind of go on this journey together. And like I said, I'm going through the glow up process with you all. So I'm doing some inner healing that I need too. And so we're doing this together. So if you are interested in joining our community, I'm going to go ahead and leave the link in the description box. So go ahead. It's just a Facebook group. I share things periodically. I'm trying to get the women in there to share some stuff too. We have a few people who are, sharing a lot of their stuff as well and encouraging one another. So just wanted to give that as a resource. I'm actually really proud of myself for doing this. I actually created an ebook as well. And the ebook is basically an entire, roadmap of the entire glow up process, the glow up journey. So in the community, we talk about each step. We talk about it and come up with, things to help support each other. But in this ebook, it's actually a journal as well. So it provides those self-reflection questions after each chapter. It kind of goes over my journey as well and encourages you to go on your own personal journey. So if you want to have a copy of that as well, I'm going to go ahead and leave that link in the description as well. So I'll go ahead and end it today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode and we will see you soon. Bye.